I'm live. Wow, I'm live. This camera is now telling me I am live here on YouTube. Welcome. For the benefit of the millions of people who will be watching this over the next decade or so, my name is Donato and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, please do click on that subscribe button and give it a thumbs up, as it really does help this channel. So yes, welcome. Today is Thursday, the 19th of November. How do I know? Because it's telling me on my phone. So hello to you guys who are live. Yes, I know there's people out there live. Be sure to, is it on that side or that side? I can't remember which. The way I'm looking at it is on that side. There's like a live chat facility. So please do feel free to leave comments, say hello where you are. Thank you for the very first thumbs up already. And I've got a little song. I'm telling you, as you can probably tell, I'm very excited and very pumped up with what's been happening over the past week since that previous live chat. As you can see, thankfully, there's no, for those of you who were here last week, the yellow tinge has gone. Yes, it's nice and crystal clear now. So there's a lot been going on in the past week. So I'll be going through, as usual, my notes and giving quick updates. So how are you guys doing with this in the UK with the lockdown that's been going on? If you're in different parts of the world, what is happening in your different parts of the world? But I've got a whole host of things to go through. And last week I was back on the old Facebook, and what I've been doing with the old social medias. If you have been following me on the Twitter and Instagram that I've been slowly getting back on, last week I got back onto Facebook, is that I've made my name the same. So you can find me across all the platforms and they're all by that name. Can you see that? Poet with Pace. So that's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. So if you look up Poet with Pace on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, you can find me there. And there's that nice little group on Facebook where you can give it a thumbs up. Like, there's a few hundred people on there where I share my the whys and wherefores of what's been happening, different things, different platforms. So I do share different things on there in the same way as what I'm sharing here live will be different to what's on the other platforms. But it's been a tremendously exciting week. And lots has been happening, and I've got a lot to share with you guys. And if you have any Q&As, then please do leave it in there. So in terms of what I'm going to be going through in no particular order, well, it is in this order, but I say in no particular order, but it's in the order that's on here. Yeah. So I'll be discussing with you what exciting news. I've got some announcements, what I'll be looking to do over the forthcoming with 2021 coming. What will I be aiming for? Also, I've got a bit of a poem to update you with. Also, interviews coming up and past as well, and the training that I've been doing over the past week. Whilst I've got the update coming up on for the whole week's training on Sunday, there's just a few little highlights I'd like to share with you. We'll talk about the beef. Hey, that running guy. Hey, Chris, welcome. And in terms of the training, I'll do that. And obviously the meat of this particular program, where I talked about the 3 pillars of running, we'll be going into the meat of that so we can have some Q&As, and we'll round it off with a poem, a new one. Well, I say a new one that I've published. Again, I've got a whole book of this stuff here that I've been scribbling over the years. And in particular, when I went back on Facebook, I found a video there that I'd published. It would have been about 3 years ago, and it was a sort of an ABBA type song, and it was about the thumbs up, and basically you know, the not a Salawawi, so I say thank you for the thumbs up, for giving them to me. Yes indeedy. I know I have got a little thing here. There you go. Just to make me feel that there's a crowd there cheering and it's all happening. Yeah. Well, amazing what you can find on the interwebs. But yes, in terms of that poem, it's an update modification on my main signature poem on there, which is the being the poet with pace. So I've done a little update because basically a lot of races are not happening, being cancelled. So the poem goes along the lines of, I'm the poet with pace. often seen running with a red face. So follow me now and I'll show you how to run with style, panache, elegance and grace. Oh yeah, I know. Here we go. Thank you. Yes. So what's the exciting news? I hear you say, what am I aiming to do? So you know that I'm in the middle of doing I say in the middle, yeah, it's lockdown 10K, lockdown 2.0, 10K challenge. And I haven't said what time I'm aiming for because in 4 weeks, it's not much time to do any training. It'd be good to get a PB and to see what's happening. But I thought for next year, 2021, I thought it'd be really good because I was looking at the times that age grading and all that type of stuff. Evening, Colin, welcome to the show. So I've been looking at various times. So have a sit down, grab a cup. I've got my cuppa here. Have a sit down, relax, put your feet up. 2021, we don't really know what's going to be happening. And I did like the thank yous from everyone and the congratulations that I have had a confirmed place for London Marathon 2021. And when I shared that amongst some of the social media, it didn't take long for some people to start critiquing it and having a go. Yes, along the lines of, is it going to happen? Well, I don't have a crystal ball, guys, so that's not the exciting news I'm going to be sharing with you. I don't know if London's going to go ahead next October. Does anyone know what's going to happen with what's happening at the moment? Certainly here in the UK. I mean, really? So I'm just happy to have qualified, to know that I've got my place in there. So if it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, whatevs. Yeah, keep chilled, relaxed. So as more of you are joining online, yeah, give it a thumbs up. So yes, exciting news. And the races that were all cancelled this year have been shifted over. So yeah, yada, yada. But I thought, why not have something to aim for, which is tweaking some of the 10Ks, whether I try this as a 10K level or 5K or half marathon. I was looking at the times. So at the moment, my PB, if I was to do a 38-minute 10K, that would put me at age grading for my age, currently 59, 87%. So I thought, oh, let's key in some times up there. So 38 minutes gives me 87%. This is at 10K. So that's pretty damn fast, isn't it? 38 minutes for any age. Yeah, so it's super fast. But I was tweaking the times and I thought, now, whilst that's good at club level, I can't remember the age grading words that they have, but you have different levels. In fact, let's see if I can bring this up. Shout out. Hey, Mike. Yes, we're definitely having a good day. I'm just going to age grade. Let me have a quick look on this website. Tell me if I've disappeared and I'll come back. But with the age grading, I'm just having a look. Where is it here? Oh, yeah, here we go. So 80% is national class. Now, I've already achieved that, yeah, at England Marathon Masters level. But if I was to get to 90% and beyond, I would be, I'm just looking to get you guys back. Am I back? So did I disappear or not? Let me know, because I quickly jumped to another window. I don't know whether the video disappeared or stopped. If I get to 90%, that's and above, that'll be world class level. So maybe that's something for me to aim for next year. That'd be terribly exciting, wouldn't it, if I got into the 90% age grading? And I do know that some of my subscribers are at that level, which is amazing to see. So yeah, it's great to see people of world class level at whatever age you are to achieve that. So that'll be something exciting for me to aim for next year. So that's that bit there. Exciting, eh? So exciting. I've got to play this again. I don't know whether you heard this, Michael Cole, but I'm going to play it again. Yes, applause, cheer. Yes, I know. But speaking of cheering and applauding, what's amazing is coming up. I've had an interview this week where I was chatting to a guy, one of the top endurance athletes, with a great story. Because for me, a lot of the running, and I'll cover this about in the 3 pillars, but a lot that we hear about running, and in particular, and I'm sure, Colin, you can relate to this, having done the 100 marathons, is it's not just our physical ability, it's the mental toughness, mental ability. And the interview that I had in this week, which I'll be publishing. I'm looking at around Tuesday of next week. I'll be talking about the power of now and being in the moment. And this guy goes through his story of how he used that with a professional coach, and basically taking him from a nearly there. So he's done endurance races, 100K, many 100Ks, 100 milers. He's also done Ironman, and he kept doing the Ironman and Ironman, but never quite qualifying for the Kona World Championships until he changed his mental attitude. And it's a great interview, and I'm sure you guys will be looking forward to it. Tremendously exciting and very enthusiastic guy, and a lot to share about how we help our little noggins to be better athletes. So I wanted to share with you, as I mentioned, that on Sunday I'll be publishing, hopefully, fingers crossed, the week's training for my lockdown 2.0. And as you say, Colin, the mental side is so incredibly important, because especially when it comes to endurance, and I would class marathon in there. I think up to half marathon, and it's not just my words, this is, you know, the scientists and everyone out there, is that we have enough body store and energy in there. Evening, Dave Archer, welcome. We have enough body store and energy in there where we won't tank or blow. But in terms of endurance, I would say, you know, marathon and beyond is it's all about up there. I can't remember, maybe you guys watching can remind me, is it 80% mental, 20% physical, or is it 90% mental? And again, the guest has a view on that, and be interested. So what do you think, guys, in terms of endurance, athleticism? Is it 80, 90% mental, 10% physical? Let me know. But in terms of my training, there was one bit I wanted to share, and I don't know whether this man is online, but I've got to give a big shout out to Carl, who put together a training plan for me for the 10K, 4 weeks. He did say, what are you doing trying to do it in just 4 weeks? But hey, you know, I didn't invent the lockdown dates, so I'm just going with that. It's a lockdown 2.0 challenge. It's 4 weeks. That's how I set that. And yesterday was Wednesday, and you'll see a bit of a pattern with the training that I'm doing. And this is where the 3 pillars sort of comes in as well, when I'll be going into the detail of that. But yesterday I done the first time ever what I call a Fartlek session, which was 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, and 1 minute. Starting off at half marathon pace for 3 minutes, and then 2 minutes at 10K pace, and then 1 minute at 5K pace. And there's rests in between each one, and then rest at the end, and then you keep repeating, repeat. Oh boy, it was hard yesterday. And but Carl came out and went out and paced me, so I was basically following him at a particular distance, but he was going at a pace, and that's the first time I've ever done that type of training. And you'll see on the video that the details there, and I think there's a bit where Carl takes over the channel and does some recording. So yeah, evening, Duncan, welcome to you. So thankfully, guys, I'm just going through the updates at the moment for the week. So that's something for you to look out for. It was pouring with rain. It was pretty miserable, but hey, the training has to be done. Yeah, would you agree? I would say so. Now, that was the training update. Now, I'm going to go into the meat now, as there's quite a few of you have arrived in the channel. So if you've got your tea, have a little sip, relax. As I was saying, if you were watching, give this a thumbs up, as it really does help. So yeah, give that thumbs up there. The 3 pillars. Now, this isn't something I've invented or cooked up. I think the name might be that, but I gave it a particular name. But for some of you who've been watching my channel for a number of months now, and certainly through this summer, whilst training for the triathlon, there's a book that I have called the 80-20 rule. And it's about 80% of the training that we do for endurance athleticism is done nice and easy and slow, and 20% is done at a higher level. And it's all about effort and heart rate training and so on and so forth. And one of the co-authors of that is Matt Fitzgerald. And it's something that he's researched, and many other people have researched as well. So it's been put together over however many decades, years, or whatever of information. And there's 3 key things that help us. Dave, where have you been? You're late. There's 3 key things. So you've come to the juicy bit, Dave. So make sure you give it a thumbs up, mate. And you, Duncan, and Dave Archer. Yeah, there's so many Daves and Chris's. Give a thumbs up on there. The 3 things, and I'll go through these because they're open for debate. So please do leave the comments as I'm mentioning and talking through these. And I have done them in a particular order. I think Matt Fitzgerald would have done it in a different type of way. I think he does it more in things that you can't control, and then there's things that we can control. But I'm going to go through it in a different order. I'm going to go through it in the order of things that we can control. And so there's only 3. I say only 3, and we'll talk about it more. So I've been talking about, I mean, number 1 is training. Now, I know that may be a bit of a given, but in terms of how someone performs is based on the training that we do. Now, there are some individuals, and I think for those who are analytical, there'll be often a statistical bell curve. I don't know if you all understand that, where it goes up and down. So you've got people at the extremes, and I think it's one of these BBC TV shows proved that this guy can do however much training he does, he's never going to improve. And I'm guessing that they're called non-responders or wherever. So they'd be at one end of the curve. And then there's people at the other end where they barely have to sneeze in terms of training and their performance rockets up. Yeah. But I'm talking about us in the middle, or the majority of us in the middle, where the training that we do determines our particular performance. And that's something we can control up to a point, you know, based on our busy daily life schedules. So I don't know what your views are with regards to training and different types of training. In particular, now I can talk about with my 10K training, it is not completely different to the marathon training because there's lots of easy runs in there, which we do in marathon training. But I've now added a few key punchy sessions in there, or should I say Carl's added those in there. And it's a challenge to me to try, but then running a 10K is completely different to running a marathon. So the training needs to be specific for the particular type of race that we're doing. And again, the information on these 3 is more geared at elite level, but it can be transferred down to us, what I call everyday runners, weekend warriors, or whatever we want to call ourselves. What's the other names? I can't remember the names. I've heard of weekend warriors, hobby joggers, whatever, you know, casual athletes or lean athletes, whatever we want to call ourselves, runners, just runners, we run. And the training that we do, so applicable to that. So however we have, whatever we do, we can all train and determine that. And up to a point, the more we put in, the more we get back. But it's getting that balance of recovery. So the training that we have is including recovery. So as well as the sessions, we need to allow for that. And you'll see that as my weeks progress with the 10K training, that you'll see that the set days I have, that is no running whatsoever, complete rest. Now, whilst I was training for a triathlon, maybe I would have got on a bike or turbo trainer and done that. But right now I do have proper rest days. And then there's some days, like yesterday, was a pretty intense day. But again, lots of recovery in there. In the definitely public plodders. Yes, I like that one, Dave. Yeah. But again, I tell you guys, social media is a funny place where I think I used the word I went out for a jog, and some people got offended by it because they saw the times that I was running at. And we're all different, you know. What I call a jog, maybe someone's sprint, but I'm not measuring. It's just how I feel. I don't know about that one though, Dave. Park run perbs. Although I did see, is anyone doing non-park runs? You mentioned park run, Dave. Is anyone doing non-park runs? When I was out doing my Saturday session, Saturday morning, it was at a park run venue. I was there from about 7 in the morning, so I was done and dusted by 9, half 9. But as I was getting changed in my van, I could see people arriving and doing a non-park run. And so people out there on that park running round and round. So training for a park run is going to be different. So that I would say is pillar number 1. Indefinitely, you can't get out of that habit. It's just one of these things, isn't it, Dave? You get used to a Saturday morning, you wake up at whatever time, and we get up and go and do that. I can't wait for it to all be back to some kind of normality. That would be really good. So that's number one, training. Makes sense? Yeah. Do more training, we get better. But again, having a balance. And Ryan, yes, I know exactly what you mean, Ryan. It's not the you can't get the competitive side when you're on the run. That's exactly my feelings, and I think this is the challenge that certainly setting myself with this 10K. At the end will be a time trial. There's no official race or anything, and the motivation, competitiveness. I mean, the first one I'd done, that 5K TT time trial, it was great, but even with the socially distanced, wherever, it didn't feel like a race at all, you know, because they were just away, far away. Number one, training. And I do include the running training and the rest training and all that type of stuff. Number two, and again, this might be an obvious one for you guys and gals watching, is our diet. Yeah, what we eat and drink every day. Yeah, every day. It's not just the night before a race or the morning of a race. It's what we do every day. No, unfortunately, Cole, I think the date, that's a good question. Before I go into diet, because I know you're all feeling hungry. Speaking of diet, I was actually quaffing one of these. Yes, other brands are available. Digestive bar. It's so nice with a cup of tea, isn't it? Having a nice digestive biscuit. Let me have a look at the date. Can't see. I've forgotten the date. I'm doing my. Oh yes, it's the 6th of December. So technically, this is probably me on the erring on the cautious side. Technically, I think the lockdown here. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Who are watching in the UK. I've heard that lockdown finishes on the 2nd of December. So by the 6th of December, it should be all open, whatever. But I don't know of any race events and organisers close enough to me. I'm sure there's some going on somewhere in Britain, but I'd like to keep things a bit local and find somewhere there. So I think I've got a location where I'm going to go and do that, and take it from there. But no, and I think, and to be honest, Colin, I do appreciate the feedback there. But I think even if it was a 10K event, it'll be like a time trial. It won't be a race, as Ryan mentioned. And for me, you know, rocking up to a non-park run or wherever, you can run a 5K as quick as you can on your own, but it's not the same feeling as being in there, in the thick of it, with all that type of stuff going on there. But anyone who wants to come and join in, let me know. That so diet, number two, diet. Yeah, I mentioned I was quaffing on that. So it's what we eat and drink every day is part of how we perform. And I think if for those who watched in detail the weekly updates, I did get caught out last Saturday's session, and it was based on what I'd eaten the Friday night. So, you know, I mentioned it's not just about the night before, but what we eat throughout the week. And I have heard all sorts of things in terms of levels of protein, carbs, fats that we have, sugar, and certain things should be cut in and out and whatever. I'm no dietitian, and I have interviewed people who are dietitians on here, professional ones for elite athletes and non-elite athletes. And at the end of the day, the key thing that they all say is having a healthy, balanced diet. So as much as I may like to go for some fast food joints or have a curry or a Chinese every night, I'd be very happy with that, and lunch and breakfast, or eating pasta every night. I'd certainly love doing that as well, or pizza every night. It's having a very balanced, healthy diet. And again, we can Google that, but that is what I call the second pillar, or from Matt Fitzgerald's book and review, is our diets determine. And you see that as it progresses through, how, and certainly at elite level, I think when you're knocking on those world championships, they have things all measured to an exact amount. And I certainly remember, in fact, one of the things I think that may have not put me off, that might be a bit extreme, but when I started running, where I was working there were some people who were very serious and very into their diets, and basically how many slices of bread you would have and at what time, and whether it had margarine or butter or jam or marmalade, all this type, really detailed. But those are for the guys and gals who are right up at their top level, and it's really essential. But for those of us who were, as Dave Cowdery mentioned, public plodders, hobby joggers, weekend warriors, or whatever, is that it's just keeping a happy, healthy balance. So it's okay having a burger now and again. It's okay having pizzas now and again, or whatever. But get those vegetables and greens in there, and enjoy it. But the key thing for me with the diet is, and I've seen this again, you know, that social media, you can see all sorts of stuff, and you see videos and blogs, and when people are out there, and I vividly remember seeing these two people where they were as miserable as sin, eating porridge, and they weren't enjoying it at all, but they said, oh, we got to eat this because this food helps us with our particular run. And I'm thinking, well, I'd like to eat what I enjoy, and I think there's enough of a variety of foods out there that can help us. And certainly when I love me porridge, yeah. But unfortunately, as I mentioned, I had a bit of a mishap on Saturday. I found that if I have too much fiber in my diet of the morning or night before, then I might be jumping into some hedge, you know, whatever, too soon. So yeah, too much detail. But these guys were enjoying eating their porridge, and I'm sure there's other things, yeah, and booze definitely doesn't help. But yes, you dropped your pint on the last long run. And totally agree, Mike. You definitely need carbs after a quality session to help replenish the glycogen. I love those. Leave the comments in there, tips and stuff. I did hear another one, and I don't know if this chap's on, but I did see him comment from someone where if you have a lot of protein, if you have protein after a workout, it helps reduce the effect of DOMS, you know, delayed onset muscles. Again, I don't know whether that's true or not, but he said it works for him. And speaking of DOMS, even though my name's Donato, when I woke up this morning after yesterday's sessions, whilst I was still creaking and aching, it was nowhere near as bad as last week. And I think obviously because these sessions are all new to me, so my body's taking time to adapt to that, and creaking and all that type of stuff. But yeah, carbs is almost essential. Does anyone remember the name of that particular food that the East Africans eat that is allegedly some magic food? Well, I can't remember what it's called, but in Italy we have a food called polenta, which I used to eat as a child, and we'd often have it with liver, fried liver and stuff, and it was like a delicacy from southern Italy. And I think Jamie Oliver has made it into some kind of fancy starter now. But polenta is another high carb type of food, but for some people it's as dull as dishwater. So if you don't enjoy the food, what's the point of eating it? And it's the same with when I'm running. And some people don't like gels. I do like gels, so I get on with them. I enjoy that. So again, there's other things you can eat and drink, or find out what works for you. And yes, Dave County, it was you, wasn't it? Yeah, the protein shake in the first 15-30 minutes after a run helps with the dreaded DOMS. Although I did hear, and I'll have to dig out that book, one of the guests I had on, she talks about recovery and some of the fads out there. I think the 15 to 30 minutes is one of those that hasn't been scientifically proven. It can help, but it's not been 100% proven. However, you do need protein within a number of hours of the thing. So it doesn't have to be immediately after, but within a number of hours, I think within 2 hours of the exercise or workout. So it does help and it does work. Igalo, that's the one. Yeah. Thank you, Dave. Did you Google that, Dave, by the way? Igalo, yeah. It's when I looked at it and I saw it, I thought this is very similar to polenta in Italy. And I'm sure there's other dishes in other countries that it's the type stuff, because polenta you just make with water. It's really simple. So Ryan, what do you say? I try to never have protein shakes, since you can get the same quality of protein in food. However, for a quick recovery, then I go for it. Exactly right. That's precisely the point. And that's why Dave does it. I used to do it in my early days because with the schedule I had with work, I didn't have the time to do that. So for me, quick bit of water, protein powder in there, mix it in, drink it, felt great, and off I went to work. So my schedule didn't allow that. So it depends what it is, but every time, you know, in terms of additives and stuff, if you can get the real food, and that's the beauty with when it comes to diet, is real food, organic food, cooked at home. And that's one of the pluses. I mean, people have been going on about the negatives of lockdown and shutdown, but for me, the positives, whilst I've now moved back out of London and my flatmates moved to another area, is when we were locked down in London, between me and my flatmate, we'd learned to cook a various number of dishes. And it was all, I was shocked at some of the things I could cook without the need of a recipe book. And you add a bit of seasoning and it's fantastic, you know. So I was pretty much not 100% vegan, but I did enjoy my vegetables, shall we say. And it was fantastic because basically we were just left to eat what we could, because a lot of things that I enjoyed eating were all sold out. All the pizza shops were shut anyway because everything was in full lockdown. And a lot of the supermarkets didn't have pasta on the shelves, so we had to make do with other types of food. But so I'm catching up on the comments here. Is Igalo is maize flour. Yeah, exactly. It's same as polenta is maize flour. And the NN run team swear by it. And I know a lot of people swear by it as well. And for me, I'd probably swear by polenta and pizza. Yeah, and pasta. So the 3 Ps, that's the 3 Ps for me. Pizza, pasta, polenta. Obviously washed down with a bit of Chianti or Barello, whatever. You know, that's a nice bit of wine. But again, keep it sensible. Yeah, a bottle may be doing it, overdoing it, but a glass or half a glass, that should be all right. And Mike, did say Kipchoge mate eats lots of ugali and corn cake. Yes, corn, another good one. So diet. I was just looking for where did I put one? So diet is an essential part. So training and diet are the 2 of the 3 pillars that we can control. Because we can decide what we eat, we can decide what training we do. Pretty obvious, really. Ministry of the, you know, Mogo, Ministry of the Bleeding Obvious. But the 3rd one, this is, I've left this till last because this is something we have no control over whatsoever. So you're probably wondering, what is the 3rd thing that determines? All these 3 determine in terms of how good we can get and to what potential we want to get to. Now, for me, obviously, if I'm looking, if you are new on here, I did give it an answer. You have to play on replay what I'm looking to do. So the exciting thing is I'm looking to get my times. I've not decided what distance yet, whether it's 5K, 10K or half marathon or marathon, where I'll be looking to get into a world class. That's 90% plus age grading for my times. So that's something I'm aiming for. But the 3 pillars, we can only get to a certain level with the training and diet. And the 3rd one is the one that determines, and it's more really aimed at not just the elite, but the top of the elites, where it's, look, you know, like nanoseconds determines between a gold and a silver. And that's our genes, what we're born with. Yeah. And some of us are born with good genes. Some of us are born with not so good genes. And that's how it is. You know, some of us, if you look at various athletes, we're all different shapes and sizes. But if you look at, you know, and I see a lot of the top marathon runners, you don't see many tall marathon runners, do we? We don't see many, you know, over 6.5 foot tall. And whereas when you look at basketball players, they're all taller. Yeah. So in terms of what our genes are, and that's how we determine. So for running, depending on the distance that we're running, I think the shorter the distances, I think you get taller. I mean, how tall was Usain Bolt? You know, 100 meter, 200 meters. I don't think he'd ever dream of running anything beyond the 200 meters or 400 meters. So his genes, it's all about short sprint, bang, bang. Now, for some other people, if you look at, say, Paula Radcliffe at marathon distance, while she doesn't hold the current world record, she did hold the world record. She's much shorter, very lean, and clearly has genes to help her to that. So again, you know, it's what we have. And Bolt is 6'5". Again, Dave, did you just Google that? Maybe I need you, Dave, as co-hosting on this week, and you can Google me stats and stuff, and what you can do. What do you reckon, Dave? Genes, we can't do anything about it. It's what we're born with. And sometimes people often say to me, oh, because of the times that I'm doing it, I was born with good genes. And yeah, I guess I was born with some good genes up to a particular level. But for me, and for a lot of people, a lot of these guys who are super top athletes, they're all in their young ages. So they're good from the off. Yeah. So they've got the good genes. And while some of us may be late developers, but the top athletes, you know, by the time they're 6, 7-year-olds, 10-year-olds, the teachers know they've got something. And then they go on to the other two pillars, which is the training and the diet, to get them right up that level. And again, there's stories where I think Ryan Hall, you may have heard of Ryan Hall, and he was the like the pin-up guy for USA marathon team. And Ryan Hall was 100% blessed with amazing genes. For you know, he was the #1 marathon runner long before Galen Rupp, and he was up there. He was so far up there, but he never, I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Dave Cowdery, if you want to Google, you know, Ryan Hall, 2:05 marathoner. Yeah, I don't think he ever won a marathon, but he came close oh so often. But when I interviewed that lady with the best-selling book, and she was talking about recovery, and that's where she uncovered about the protein drinks, you know, 20, 30 minutes is a bit of an unproven thing, 100%. It's all about hours. In her book, she talks about Ryan Hall, and she talks about recovery, because for her, a lot of what we do in terms of how we train and our diet as well, these all contribute to the recovery. So the diet that we eat and drink contribute to our recovery. The training that we do helps with our recovery. What Ryan Hall was unfortunately doing, and it's in one of her chapters, is yeah, he is the only American to ever run a sub 2:05. He was amazing. And I've met Ryan. I met him at Boston Marathon as I was passing him at mile 20. No. Hey, Ryan, what's up, mate? You know, because I'll tell you what happened. And it's in this book. It's well documented. And Ryan knows this as well now. And the guy I was interviewing that you'll see on Tuesday as well, in his mid-20s, he had the same issue. I think there's this 3-letter word that sometimes comes in to people. They have the genes, but something takes over, and that's the ego. Their ego just takes over. They think it's so amazing, brilliant. And what Ryan was doing was he wanted to get faster. He wanted to beat that, you know, his sub 2:05. He wanted to get around 2:02, and you know, to take those times off. So what did he do? Basically, he upped his training. You know, these 100-mile a week, he'd go out and then do 120 miles a week, and then 130, 140 miles a week. So you can see where I'm going with this. Now, to him, he didn't see it, and his coach didn't see it, but overtrained, not enough recovery time, and basically he just kept getting injured, and he was arriving. And even if he wasn't injured, he was exhausted and overtrained. And instead of taking it up a level, he went down. So his performance went absolutely plummeted, and he reached exhaustion, and then got a new coach. New coach got him to train, and would you believe, got him onto the 80-20 training, where 80% easy, 20% hard. He was doing about 90% hard, and your body can take that up to a certain point. But whilst he has amazing genes, he fell down on the training and diet. So this is where I see so many people, and often you hear of, and I've seen some top footballers out there who have been blessed over the years with some amazing skill. By the way, did you see the football legend that I bumped into last week? Yeah, get back and watch that weekly update. Football legend, yes, I spotted him on my long run on the Sunday. But I've seen many, and in my youth, some of the guys I was at school with, went on to play for some top professional teams, Aston Villa, Birmingham City, but they had the genes, but boy, they were lazy. They didn't train enough, and they just ate where they want. And yeah, he did leave his shoes literally at the finish line in Sydney. Yeah, it's quite a story. I think he and his wife, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave Cowdery, his wife or partner, she's a top marathoner as well. I think the two of them now do endurance running, and he's certainly learnt. I think he's got older, but a lot of the young guys, he's a bodybuilder now. Yes, he does look a different species. But as we get older, we get a bit wiser. And the thing with these three, and I talk longevity in running, as I'm soon approaching 60, whilst I've not been running at this level for many, many years or whatever it is, I try and temper the training and the diet to ensure that I've got longevity, and that's what we can control. And unfortunately for Ryan Hall, his longevity, it just stopped. He just broke himself. And we often see a lot of these top athletes where they take themselves to breaking point. And whilst we can appreciate, to push yourself and have a goal and whatever, but it's keeping things within reason. And I'm sure, Colin, you probably relate to this, especially when it comes to marathon running. I see so many people it's great to have a goal, great to have something to aim for, but it's not until how you feel on that day, on that morning, of what time you're going to run. Doesn't matter how the training and everything went, it's how you feel on that morning. In particular, when you're doing a 5K, that's over like that. And the difference between a 15-minute 5K and a 15-minute 10-second 5K for the guys and girls running those times is a massive difference. It's almost like comparing a 3-hour marathon and a 3-hour 15 marathon. For those who've run those times will know there's a massive difference to run those times in terms of effort and training. And it's the same on that. So see how you feel on the day. And the longevity is just take things one step at a time, so we can control our training, control our diet. But the genes, whatever, we're blessed with genes, and some of us are blessed with running at certain distances, and some are blessed at running at other distances. So just take it as it comes. We can't be masters of all. And as you say, Colin, some days the body just doesn't know what to know. And yes, it's a good admission there, Colin. And I admit also, I've overtrained, because certainly this summer I found I was overtraining, especially with the triathlon, because with the lockdown, I think I just got bored, and I'd be on the turbo in the morning, and then I'd go out for a run in the afternoon. And then when the open water sessions opened up, I'd go out for an open water session in the morning, then I'd do a turbo train and a run. After about 5 weeks of that, in fact, it might have even been sooner. And Mike Douglas, it's a good point. Mary Kane, you may have heard of Mary Kane's story as well, is one of the most recent cases. I think Mary Kane was, correct me if I'm wrong, was one of the fastest runners in the whole of US in modern day times, and brilliant athlete, and unfortunately blew up with well publicized difficulties. I mean, we could have a whole live session about Salazar and what's been going on there. So it's and very kind of you to say that, Dave. And you say only 48. Indeed, you are, Dave, you young whippersnapper. And age is just a number. I don't regard myself as old or young, and none of us look our age anyway. And I just go out there and enjoy it. When I was running yesterday with Carl, I think Carl's about 20 years younger than me, 25 years younger than me, and he can run 15-minute 5Ks, no bother. But he's not been running for about 6 weeks, and he was struggling keeping the paces that he had on his plan, and I was struggling to keep up with him. But it's horses for courses, as they say. And it was kind of, my work rate over summer was phenomenal. I think my Garmin was saying right now it says a VO2 of 59. Would you believe I managed to get it up to 69? Which that should have been ringing alarm bells to me, because it kept jumping up, almost every other day. In a particular 2-week period, it was going up every other day. That was so. Whilst it's, in my opinion, these watches are not 100% accurate, and they're consistently not 100% accurate. That's my polite way of saying that they're not always right, but they're consistently not right. So at least it's wrong, right, whatever. Yeah. So for those of you watching, as I mentioned, give it a thumbs up and leave some comments. So that's the 3: training, diet, genes. Makes sense? You follow all 3? And I might do another one following up on that, and I call that the 3 running pillars. And I have got the other 3 pillars in terms of social pillars that I've been using with Grounded Republic, which is all about being rounded and grounded and just having a general healthy, balanced lifestyle, not just on the running. So this is more specific about the running in terms of our training, diet, and genes. But yes, it's funny you mentioned that, Colin. Is that I did discuss this with Carl yesterday. He says, you've forgotten the 4th one. And would you believe? Yes, he didn't use the word attitude, by the way, Carl. He was going on about that. What's up here? Yes, I always say your attitude determines your altitude. But my point in terms of the 3 pillars is our body, our mind holds all 3 together. So, you know, whatever we say, do, eat, drink, train, if we've got a bad attitude, you know, we're going to have a bad day. And I think I did see one YouTuber as a chap, unfortunately, I can't remember his, oh yes, I do remember his name. I can't remember, it's CL Furlong, Aussie guy. And fair play to the lad. He was speaking out. And I think some people on various YouTube channels don't say what they think. They just follow the narrative and just blah, 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 and do whatever. I'm not afraid to speak out. And obviously people give me the thumbs down or whatever, fine, whatever. But what Colin was saying is a bit fed up with the attitudes of people. And this is not runners. He wasn't directing it at runners, just directing it at people in general. I can't comment on what's going on in the Australian media, but I guess it's pretty similar to what's happening in British media and all medias around the world. In fact, I've heard, whilst we're here in lockdown, I've heard that the Canadian Prime Minister will be giving an announcement tomorrow. I'd pin my medal on one of those in terms of what he's going to say tomorrow, because it's all pretty predictable. But what CL Furlong was saying is that people are saying they can't wait for this year to finish and to see what happens next year. But as with the guests that I'll publish that on Tuesday, it's about being in the now, having the right attitude and making the most of what we have. And I'm trying to make the most of what I've got, as whilst I feel that, you know, I get our civil liberties and whatever all being taken away, but I'm trying to make the best of a bad thing that's going on now. So these live chats are helping us stay connected during this lockdown and during anything. And I think I'll probably continue doing this beyond the lockdown. Maybe look at mixing up the format and changing it a bit, because just having me here talking to you, as much as I love talking to you, can you tell that I'm locked here in my Hobbit hut here in Middle Earth for many hours on end? So that was a name that I'd thought up there, that yes, this is my little hut, Hobbit hut in Middle Earth, because I'm in Middle Earth with Tolkien and all the gang. So I'm a Hobbit and I didn't know it. Anyway, so attitude definitely, and attitude is so important. And as you probably know, Dave, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, is that I've seen that you were posted on Instagram. You've done some great races on there that maybe those of you who are watching right now, can you think of what were your good races and why were they good? You know, was it that you'd done the training, or were you feeling good mentally and feeling good physically, and you had the right attitude to go through? Because sometimes we can have a great race and it's not about getting the PB. But for me, when I look at all these bibs here, they've all been amazing. But my first most amazing race was that one there, which was the Frankfurt Marathon, where it was only my second marathon, and it was one blistering amazing marathon where nowhere near the massive crowds like you get at New York or Chicago or London, Boston, barely a handful there. But when events come back and big events come back, if you want to do a marathon that is not a major, because obviously it's difficult getting into these if you can't get a time qualifier, and you want to go somewhere, certainly if you're in the UK, you want to go overseas, the Frankfurt one is amazing, well organized. And I find that the overseas marathons, this time last year I was doing the which one was it, the Gdansk half marathon in Poland. The organization is second to none, but they're very much geared, you know, the people who run there, they are pretty fast. Yeah, there's a lot of these guys, whatever ages they are, they've all kept their running form. And Valencia and Seville, I think, have become a bit too big now. They are great events. If you can get in, fantastic. But they're now sort of like the second go-tos after these. Probably because it's fantastic climate in Spain. I mean, I done Malaga in December last year. And yes, I know, Colin, you're supposed to be doing Frankfurt. It's a great race, well organized, and there's water stations regularly. And for me, I just felt really good in the morning. It was close by and to where I was staying. So to get to the start was easy for me, but it was just a nice build-up, and was with a whole group of people. I think there was about 30 of us, and but all different levels. I was the slowest one, yeah, I know, but I was there just to have a bit of fun, and I did, and I loved it. And the thing that remembered in my head was, I think in Germany they do like their disco or club anthems. So as I was going around, there was all these theme tunes that I remembered. I say theme tunes, rock songs, discs from the 70s, yes. And so there was like Tiger Feet from Mud. There was Susie Quattro. There was all, you know, Devilgate Drive. I mean, all that kind of stuff playing. And music is brilliant. It gets us into a right frame of mind. It's great mentality. And it's fantastic. And I'll just read some of the comments here where you've mentioned on there. And Ryan, best race was Victoria Park half marathon. Mentally, I felt ready to push 120, and I had a strategy, and it worked, and hit 118 UPB target 22. That's incredible times, Ryan. So yeah, you felt good and you wanted to go for a 120, but having that fixed even better, knocked off, I mean, to knock off 2 minutes at those times in a half marathon is incredible. And that's the difference, which comes back to what we can control. You know, we can do the training, we can do the diet, and the genes are the genes. But as you quite rightly said, overarching all of that is on the day, our mentality and attitude on the day can be that bigger difference. And well done, Ryan. I mean, that's an amazing thing. Dave, how many marathons have you done now tonight? Oh, you should know this one by now. Come on, Dave, catch up. I've done 11. I've done 11 now. And you're asking, and what would you say more than 2 a year is safe? Well, again, Dave, as you may know, I think there's and there's a lot of people are commenting. So Dave, Colin, yeah, Ryan, I mean, incredible athlete. I think for those of you watching there, drop me an email at myrunguru@gmail.com, and I want to get you guys on as guests, not during the live show. We'll do it via Skype or whatever. So Ryan, Dave, Colin, message me. I mean, Colin, we said, you know, once you've done your 100 marathons, we're going to get you on the show. Email me at myrunguru@gmail.com, or leave a comment with your email and I'll message you, and we'll sort something out. Maybe we can have a whole group all come on, and we'll do a recording via Skype. And but yeah, how many would you say? Again, I'll put that out to you guys, those of you who are watching live right now. How many marathons would you say is safe? Now, someone like Colin, who's done 100 marathons now, he's built up over 5 years. Definitely a group one, Colin. I think we're going to have a group one. I know guys who are in part of the 100 marathon clubs, and there's a guy I've been trying to get on. He's done over 300 marathons. He will do what they call a quadzilla, which is 4 marathons over 1 weekend. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah. So quadzilla, they call that. But these guys have been building up their marathons over many, many years. So in answer to your question, Dave, it's different for different people. In terms of what's safe, for some people, not even doing 1 marathon is safe. And, you know, but they'll still go out and do it and finish it. But they might regret after in terms of that. But if you're looking at it and you're doing regular training and you're consistent, you've been going for many years now, 2 is a good one. You know, 1 in the spring, 1 in the autumn, which is why there's the marathon seasons is spring and autumn, because those are the best types of temperature to be running in. So, you know, it's all about what you feel would comfortable with, but also doing the training. And I think this is when I think I was chatting with someone yesterday, and I said about doing the right amount of training, and they say there's no such a word as right amount of training. It's different for different people, but the key thing is to do the training. And I did post something where I saw a cartoon where I think it was geared to I can't remember the word that you used in terms of plodders or whatever, Percy plodders and hobby joggers or whatever, but I think it's geared, you hear stories and some nightmare stories where people have hated the whole marathon route, you know, from start to finish, and you sort of question how could you hate it from the start? It's almost like going in with the wrong attitude, really. And is it that they didn't do any training? I mean, for me, I've got to the start of various marathons in the wrong shape, you know, having been injured. And especially when I was there at New York, Boston and London, I mean, 3 out of the 4, I got to the start where I'd not been well. I think based on what's been happening now, I probably wouldn't have been allowed to run Boston and London, because I had a bad case of flu, you know, weeks before, and was still recovering. So, but when you've booked your flight tickets, hotels and everything, you just, you know, drink the fluids and try and kill off that virus and do that. So for me, it's quite essential to ensure that I'm ready for that. And this cartoon I saw, it said it was like hell all the way around. And yeah, it's down to what you want to do, Dave. Is, do you think 2, because it's a big commitment to do the training, but once you've got your fitness level up there, and like Colin is now, he's got a consistent level of fitness, but he's built it over 5 years, he's now up here, and he can go and run a marathon probably every week without having any issues. But that's someone who's built up to it. I've seen people who run consecutive marathons, you know, where they do 1 every day for 5 days or 10 days. But I see so many where, and they're doing it for good causes, the best intentions, but by the 2nd or 3rd one, they're broken. And then the rest, it then becomes that mental battle where their bodies have basically broken down, and they just want to get to the finish. And I think that's where it becomes really hellish, because you've done too many. So hopefully that's answered that question. And as you've said, Colin, a marathon experience should be enjoyed, and that includes the training 100%. And you'll see when I post my weekly update is I'm having an absolute ball. Whilst these sessions I'm doing for the 10K, they're new to me and they're really pushing me, and I'm finding them quite tough. I am loving them. And when you see the videos on there, it's pretty amazing. And yeah, so that's the key thing on there. Dave, half marathons next year for me. Then I'll tackle marathons in 2022, just before I hit 50. Now, that's an excellent one. Excellent one to go for, Dave. And I had a guest on here, I think it was 2 years ago, for his 50th. He decided to run, don't worry, Dave, it wasn't marathons. He decided to run 50 half marathons in that year when he was 50. So from the 1st of January all the way to December. And I think I managed to run one of them with him, which was at Warwick. But basically he had marathons, I think, from the 1st of January, there was one in Zurich. So he'd planned this all out, and he ran 50 half marathons for his 50th birthday. But yeah, it's a case of building up. I never had, in terms of a little story about me, and I'll do that video. I know a lot of you have asked in terms of my history, but when I took up running, I had zero intention of doing any marathons. And after I finished my first half marathon, it was 100% never going to do a marathon, because that was really tough for me. I'd done the training. I think I had 4 months of training for a half marathon, done all the correct training and everything, finished in an incredible time, but that was me done. Raised the money for the charity, no way. But then the rest, as they say, is history. And speaking of history, Right, any more questions on there? Because I'm going to go with a poem, because we're now getting into the dark evenings, aren't we? Yeah, and the dark mornings. But I did see when I went through my Facebook, and as I say, if you want to follow that group, those who are watching weren't here at the beginning. If you go to all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, look up Poet with Pace, all one word, Poet with Pace. Follow me, thumbs up, and all that type of stuff. I've found some of the content I've been putting there over the years and having a good giggle. But a lot of the training I used to do, certainly with the run up to Chicago when I was in the Isle of Man, beautiful island. If you've ever been to the Isle of Man, they do the motorbike TT racing, and which is quite appropriate now because all we're doing is running TTs. But I'd love to have a motorbike. I'd be going at a zipping speed. But Isle of Man. So when I was working there with my work schedule, for me, the best time to fit the training was at 5 a.m. And as it was through the summer, I think the sun would be rising about 4:30, 4:45, depending on what time of the summer it was. So I'd often be doing my 5 a.m. runs, but I'd got into such a habit, I was still doing 5 a.m.s coming into the winter, but obviously with the dark mornings. So this poem is more around, you know, the 5 a.m. So this is the 5 a.m. run. When you wake up at 5 and it's cold and dark outside, our bed often takes a hold of us to keep us inside. But we still get out of bed despite our sleepy head, put on our trainers and go for that run because it makes us feel oh so alive. So there you go, guys. Thank you so much for watching, listening, commenting, and so on and so forth. I can't believe we've been going for over an hour on this. It's been an absolute joy with you guys. I'm looking forward to sharing with you the whole week's second week 10K training of the Lockdown 2.0 challenge. And you've got a lot to look forward to because it's pretty amazing. And that interview, as I said, I'll be publishing on the Tuesday of next week with the endurance athlete, where he talks about the power of now, mindfulness, being in the moment. And we are here in this moment right now, enjoying it. I've been enjoying talking to you guys. My name's been Donato, the poet with pace, often running with the red face. Yes, so thank you so much, guys. And I look forward to seeing you same time, same channel, this here, 7 p.m. I'll come up with a topic and we'll have another banter here because it's almost past my bedtime because I need to be up at 5 a.m. again. But anyway, thank you so much, guys. Take care. Thumbs up. Leave some comments. And as I said, for those of you watching, email me and we'll have a bit of a Skype gathering and recording for the channel separate to this live stuff. So thank you all, guys. Bye. Take care. This is where I find where do I press the button to end the stream. Bye, guys.